I admire Rotary for the work it does. I mean, it contributes quite essentially to the running of the state, I think. And as a top service club, I joined Rotary in 1973. Jim Lang was the current president, but he was a pretty tough customer. You know, I found it a struggle at the beginning, and I went to Jim after about 3 months and said I was having trouble managing my professional work and Rotary. And he was a bit scathing. He said to me, "A good Rotarian finds time." I was a bit upset about that, but I stuck with it. And in the end, it sorted itself out. But yes, it was essential that you maintain your Rotary membership. Indeed, every 6 months, they brought out a list of the members' attendance. And there were, 20-odd people often who had 100% attendance. One thing we got involved with was Polio Plus. That was a program in which we were trying to eradicate polio from the world. It was, in fact, an international program, and Chuck Keller, who was the international president of Rotary in my year, he started it off, and he was aiming to raise $1.2 million US, and he allocated $36,000 to the Adelaide Club to raise. We made a pretty strenuous effort to meet that, and in fact raised $37,500 in my year. Looking back on it, we did better actually. We raised more money than the Rotary Club of Melbourne and the Rotary Club of Sydney did. That pleased me quite a bit, yeah. I was a bit chuffed about winning the Merv Croxton Award for the best Rotary Club in the district, and that was pretty good achievement. We also won the Michael Reith Interact Club Award for the best Interact Club. So this is the presidential citation that was given to the club in recognition of outstanding and exemplary efforts in fulfilling the objectives of the 1987-88 Presidential Citation Program, and it's signed by Chuck Keller, the international president, and Graham Higginson. Sir Donald Bradman, who was in fact a member of our club, Hubert Opperman, who was of course a famous cyclist, a member of one of the Victorian clubs, and the third one was a woman, Marjorie Jackson Nelson. But the three of them came as visitors to our club on one particular luncheon that I remember. I got Tom Bradman, and I was very grateful for his enormous help to me when I was president, because he was kind enough to donate through me to other clubs in the district items of clothing like a jacket or a cricket bat signed and so on, so that they could auction this and use the money for the funds for the year. And I'm sure many thousands of dollars were raised by this generosity by Don Bradman. We sent away overseas to various clubs exchange students, often up to 2 in an individual year. And the selection of those was a very important function of the club, and we took it very seriously. And we had a weekend away with the potential students, and our wives came as incognito assessors. And so their attitude was to, or were told, to look at the student and assess him over the weekend and say, how would I like to host that student in my home for 3 months? If the answer was I wouldn't, then they didn't get selected. But it was, we took a lot of trouble, much more trouble than many other international clubs did in the selection of their students. And consequently, most of them were a great success. We were extraordinarily lucky, and all 3 of our children were selected. The eldest one, Jane, went to the United States, to Syracuse, and the middle girl went to Japan, and then the youngest, Paul, he went to the Netherlands, and they all had very successful years. We, in turn, hosted, I think, about 4 different students. There were a couple of South Africans and a couple of American students. So we had a pretty heavy involvement in the Rotary Exchange movement personally. I had the honour and the pleasure of nominating Kemery Murray, Justice Kemery Murray, who was in fact the first female member of our club. But she was the chief judge of the South Australian Family Court. In the latter years, helped her quite a bit when she had difficulty in transport, and I used to actually pick her up and take her to meetings. 2 or 3 of our existing members resigned through unhappiness at the idea of nominating women. It was discussed at open meeting during my year, but we deliberately, in my year, didn't hold a vote. And it was the subsequent year, I think, where the vote came and it was carried. Round about the time that I was president, there started to be a drop-off in the total membership of Rotary in the world. I think in my year there were about 230 something clubs were formed, new clubs in the world, which was in fact 74 clubs less than the previous year. Part of the problem, I think, has been because there are so many other alternative possibilities for young people or adults of median age to join. There are other service clubs that didn't exist when I was a president of Rotary, and so on. And I would be saddened to see it disappear. And you need good people. It's no use sort of inviting someone to Rotary who's not going to be prepared to serve the community. Rotary has enriched my life without question, and I would be the lesser for not having joined Rotary. But assuming I'm alive and fit and able to move around, I would hope to be actively involved in that centenary.